matters relating to the heart. Here in Adult Conversations, you give all the advice by contributing on the subject matter without judging. Adult Conversations on Women Radio runs every Monday through Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. because we are here to break the culture of silence. So if you have a story that you want us to bring to the family of Adult Conversations, make sure you send in your story. Send in your story along with your name and contact telephone number, just in case we have any questions. Send in your story to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Tonight on Adult Conversations. My name is Charles. I'm an accountant and my wife is a nurse. We live in London and have been married for 22 years with 3 children. I pay 80% of the bills in our house, even though the mortgage is under both our names. Recently, my wife bought a house in Ajah without telling me. I am very devastated and I can't believe she would do something like this. It's been 22 years of marriage. Should I confront her or keep it to myself? Should I confront her or keep it to myself because I am very, very hurt? So what is your advice to Charles tonight? Charles is saying, I'm an accountant, my wife is a nurse, we live in London, and we have been married for 22 years with 3 children. 80% of the bills in our house I pay, but our mortgage is under both our names. That's my name and my wife's name. Recently, Charles is saying his wife bought a house in Ajah without telling him. He's very devastated being that they've been married for 22 years and he expected more, but he's saying he can't believe that she would do something like this. Should he confront her about it? Should he talk to her about it? Or should he just not mention it at all? Because he's very, very hurt. So what is your advice to Charles tonight? 07000 917 917 is the number to call. 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. What is the advice to Charles tonight? Let us know what you think, and of course, give Charles some very, very good advice tonight. Now, if you want to join the group chat as well, please send in your name and contact telephone number. Your contact WhatsApp number specifically. Send your name and contact WhatsApp number on WhatsApp to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Also, when you call, please remember to turn down the volume of your radio. Turn it down so that I can hear you and we all can hear you clearly. Turn it down, please, when you call in to avoid any form of interference. Also, when you call in, please keep your advice to a minimum. Keep your advice to a minimum. Short, simple, and constructive. Refrain from insulting, refrain from attacking anyone's opinion, and of course, refrain from sounding judgmental. This is Adult Conversations. This is a safe space for you and a safe space for me. What is the advice to Charles tonight? I want to hear you. 07000 917 917. What are your thoughts? Ishime is saying, confront her to let her know how untrustworthy she is. Confront her to let her know how untrustworthy she is. That's coming from Ishime. All right, this one is coming from Benga from Alagbole. Benga says, good evening, Somto and dear valued listeners. Hope your day has gone great. Yes, to Mr. Charles, I hope you've been faithful to your wife, and I hope there's nothing that you are hiding from her that she might have discovered to make her do such. If not, are you sure the house she bought isn't meant to be a surprise package for you? Moreover, did you hurt her so badly recently or do anything to her of recent that could have resulted to her buying a house without your knowledge? For a woman to do such, then there's likely something the husband might have done that she's holding on to. I don't want to assume she's tired of the marriage and is looking for a way to shelve out of it by being mute on involving you in her plans. I know a woman who once built a house with the knowledge of her 3 children, but made sure they never let her father know simply because the man was having extramarital affairs and had the plan of moving out her children to her house without her husband's consent. But alas, the man got to know and they resolved the issue and they are still together. I'm admonishing you to sit her down and ask her why she took such a decision. Ask her if you did offend her or if you did anything to warrant such. Look into her eyes while talking to her and take note of her countenance simultaneously. However, please take it easy while talking to her, as that could also help. That is coming from Benga from Alagbule. What is your advice tonight? Chinwe from Ejigbe is also saying, good evening, lady. Ask her about it, but don't let it cause problems for you so as to avoid domestic violence. She's very wrong by hiding it from you. So I want to hear from you. Do you think that Charles's wife was wrong to have not told him about the house she was building in Ajah? Do you think she was wrong for not telling him? And do you think he's justified by feeling devastated that he wasn't told about it? Do you think it's something that even if she has built the house already, she can still tell him about it and he can still understand? Or do you think the fact that he has found out now makes it wrong for her to have not told him? What are your thoughts concerning this story tonight? I'm interested in your thoughts and I want to hear what your opinion on this is. Now remember, the most important thing is to render a solution, to give you advice. And hopefully that advice will play a role in solving things. So, should I confront her or keep it because I'm hurt? That's the question that he's asking. Should I confront her? Should he confront her? What should he do? Because honestly, after 22 years of marriage, it is very hurtful finding out something that you think you and your partner should know all by yourself. So you found out all by yourself and she has done this entire project without your knowing. So are you in support of the surprise package idea that Benga was talking about in his text? What are your thoughts tonight? 07,000 917 917 is the number to call. 07,000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube at WFM 917. At WFM 917. So you can go on there, you can watch us live, you can watch the program live, you can follow the program, and of course follow us on social media. 07,000 917 917 is the number to call. What is your thought process concerning the story of Charles tonight? What are you thinking? If this was you, and I always say this, if you have been through this before, if your husband kept something very important, a major project, away from you as his wife, he didn't carry you along, how did you feel when you found out? And what did you do? Are you still together? Was the situation resolved? What did you do? I love it when people who have experienced similar things are giving advice, because it basically let the person with the story know that there are people out there who feel the way you feel. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Bayo. I'm calling from Magboro.
Bayo from Magboro. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead, Bayo. What is your advice to Charles?
Please, ma, when are you starting your Lovely Woman program again?
Which program is that?
The relationship, people that are looking for husband and wife.
Oh, okay. So we've had this conversation before, and I'll get back to us on that. I'll get back to you on that. I understand that this is something that a number of people have been asking for. So I will announce that when it's time on Adult Conversations. So just keep listening. When it's time, when the program has been properly packaged, I'll bring it here to Adult Conversations and let you know when it will start again.
Is it this month?
I really can't say. It's being worked on, and because it's being worked on, I really can't say when it will be back. But I'll let you know. I definitely will announce it on Adult Conversations.
No problem. Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much. Bayo, don't you want to comment on the story? Hello? Okay, well, thank you, Bayo. And if you're one of those people who is also interested in knowing when the relationship/love program will be back up, well, we will definitely work on that, and you'll know about it sooner than later, hopefully. What are your thoughts concerning this story tonight? What are your thoughts concerning the story, and what advice do you have for Charles? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, I can't hear you.
I'm Daisy calling from Bega.
Your name again, please.
Daisy calling from Bega.
Bingpe from Bega.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, Bingpe.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to advise, is it Charles? I can't remember.
Yes, that's his name.
To confront the wife. And please, when he's doing it, he needs to confront her because he's totally...
Hello? Okay, I don't know what's responsible for that, but hopefully Bingpe can call back and we can hear what she has to say. This is still Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7.
This is WFM 91.7.7. Our friend Oliver is what you call a man with a huge appetite. Gigantic, actually. And if there's one phrase we have come to know Oliver for, it is this. More data, please. No matter what we offer him. More data, please. So, guess what we did? We heard Glo created new data plans for people like Oliver, and we got him exactly that. And guess what Oliver said? Excuse me, please, is this all for me? Only me? Now, Oliver certainly has more than enough data. All thanks to the Glo Mega Data Plans. With the longer validity you get on Glo Mega Data Plans, you can work from home with ease, run your business better, download non-stop, stream music and movies endlessly, learn online, and share data with anyone. No worries. Get 225 gigabytes at 30,000 naira for 30 days, 425 gigabytes at 50,000 naira for 90 days, and 1 terabyte at 100,000 naira for a year. Dial star 777 hash now to start enjoying these mega plans. Grow Unlimited. It's game night at the Bensons and everyone's having fun. Then, this.
Hey son, what's the matter? You too? No way.
Don't let coughs and the common cold ruin your fun time. Tuxedo range of deformulated AM9 syrups provides effective relief from cough and cold. Product may cause drowsiness. Tuxedo, the job gets done when the cough is gone. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
They keep wondering, say I must stop it, how I must stop it. Some try to slow me down, but I'm undraggable. Every expectation, every task is a heat. My success to retreat. I'm on the way for next one. Wi-Fi next one. It's only my dose. For the poor that I'm like, we are the next of we are the
Get and stay connected to the Wi-Fi network for unlimited internet experience that keeps you one step ahead in all your browsing needs. SpectraNet, the Wi-Fi network. The die is cast. Enough of economic deprivation, social stigmatization, sexual harassment, denial of inheritance, and other acts of oppression of our women, our widows, and their children in Nigeria and all over Africa. OLA, the African Women Lawyers Association, told the rescue. OLA is poised to fight and defend the rights of women, widows, and their children. OLA will also fight against human trafficking and sexual harassment all over Nigeria. Nigerian women, help has come for you and your children. It is time to speak up. Let OLA fight your cause. Contact OLA Nigeria, main office, the Penthouse, number 13, Town Planning Road, Newport, Lagos. Toll free line 0800 OLA NIG or 0800 295 2644. African Women Lawyers Association, OLA, giving voice to the African women. Signed, F.A. Tommy, President, OLA Nigeria.
Here is a list of excuses that will no longer be accepted.
I beg, give me your hotspot. I want my data, but this one too much.
Please, can you put your Wi-Fi on? I'm out of data and the recharge card seller has closed.
Oh, I would have recharged though, but I can't find my wallet.
Please, I've got cramps and I can't get up. Can you share your hotspots?
Oh no! Don't know where my internet token is and I need to quickly buy data. Please, could you share your hotspot till I find it?
Hey, Jumbo, I said buy data. Without recharge card seller, I know they ever get changed. How would you? Now there's really no excuse to ever be out of data with your Brody Data. Dial *321# to borrow data now and pay later. I beg, I said share your hotspot. This went behind. Make fun that no go fireman. The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
23 minutes past 6 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and we discuss matters relating to the heart. If you're just tuning in, welcome, and this is the story. Tonight's story is that of Charles, and he's telling us that he's an accountant, his wife is a nurse. They've lived in London for the better part of their lives, or they both live in London and have been married for 22 years with 3 children. Now, Charles says he pays 80% of the bills, even though their house in London is mortgaged under both their names. Now, recently, Charles is telling us that his wife bought a house in Ajah. She bought a house in Ajah here in Nigeria without telling him. He says he's devastated and he can't believe that she would do something like this. This is 22 years of marriage, remember? So this is understandable that Charles feels this way. But he's asking, should he confront her or should he not confront her? Because he's really hurt about the situation and is asking, should he confront her? Basically, what should he do? So even other than confronting her, what should he do? Because this is devastating in his words. So what should he do going forward now that he has this information? So Charles, if you're listening, the first thing I'd like to know is, how did you find out? How did you find out about the house that she's building or that she bought in Ajah? How did you find out about the house that she bought in Ajah? If you're tuned in, kindly let us know how you found out about it and what the situation is with your family life. So sometimes I want to read that message. I want to take a cue from the message that Benga sent in earlier. Benga says, I don't want to assume that she's tired of the marriage because it's 22 years. And saying that she's tired of the marriage would, yes, be just a mere assumption because you can't be sure of the state of their marriage. So first question, how did you find out about the house that she bought in Ajah? That's 1. 2. What is the state of your marriage? Would you say that you and your wife are in a happy marriage? Would you say that you are both happily married even after 22 years? Now, this is an important question because if you're not happily married, then chances are that you're probably living as roommates in the same house. And if that's the case, then a school of thought would say, oh, then that makes sense that she would do something like this, because you probably don't talk to each other much anymore, by the way, if you are not happily married. But if you are, and there is still that commitment, there's still that mutual respect, there's still that communication that goes on between you and your wife and your children, of course, because you're all the family, then what prompted this? What prompted this? So I'm interested in knowing how you found out, and I'm also interested in knowing what the family situation is. Are you still happily married to your wife? Those are my questions for now. Okay, for now. And I'm sure you also want to know the answer to these questions. Now, talk to me about what your advice to Charles is tonight. Are you thinking, oh, yes, confront her? Or you're thinking, maybe, just maybe, that might not be the best idea? If you've been through this before, please call in, share your story, and of course, give advice to Charles. What do you think that he should do at this point? 22 years, 3 children, a whole marriage, living together in London, and she bought a house back here in Nigeria without telling him. That's very concerning. And Charles would like to know what your advice to him is. So call in and give advice to Charles. 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. What is your advice to Charles? How do you think you should handle this situation? Again, like he said in his story, he is devastated. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'd like to be anonymous.
Okay, where are you calling from then?
I'm calling from my board.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just, my piece of advice or a question I can ask Charles is, down there in London when they were together, what kind of life did he live with his wife? You know, that needs to be sorted out. And maybe there are some things that they never resolved before they came back to Nigeria. Looking at what the wife did, an ordinary woman who has stayed with a man for 22 years wouldn't take that step if nothing had happened before now. I take my own as an example. You see, it got to a time in our lives that I felt, well, ours has been like 24 years. But before then, I had looked at the whole situation. I thought that, okay, if I had the means of having a house for us, our own house, a roof on us, God helped us, and I was able to do that for the family, you know. And I know that financially my husband wasn't that okay, so I got to do it. I did it, but I did it in the name of both of us.
Okay.
But unfortunately, many years after, only for me to find out that this same man, whom I was kind of laboring, making sure that things are okay for us and not the rest, you know, had another child outside the marriage. And only for me to know that, at the time I got to know, it was, the child was about 9 years, which happened to be, you know, he happened to have shared the same age with my last son. So definitely, the time I was pregnant for that one, the lady too was pregnant. And we're living together. And we build a house together. So definitely, it's so devastating, like Charles said. But you see, I'm still in the marriage anyway. But I won't lie to you. We are more or less like a roommate. And because of that, when I saw the signals of the future being together with him or whatever, he's likely to, I'm likely to get more bumps than the one I have received. So I tried to, when I had another money, I built another house somewhere. So this time around, not really a commercial building anyway.
Okay.
Like a commercial building. But I told him, I will not hide it from him. I told him this is what I'm doing. Of course, this time around, he does not have the effrontery to ask me, why did you do that? Do you understand? Because
Did you put the house under both your names again this time?
No, I wouldn't be fooled the second time. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Of course, it was in my name, and I don't intend to do any more of such except the one that I've done already.
Okay.
Do you understand? Which was up to me out of ignorance. If I knew he was in the process of doing all of that before, I wouldn't have done it. But I said this is marriage. One person has, the other one does not have. Let me support. Let us build something together.
As a good wife.
I was busy doing all of that, but he was busy checking something else.
I'm so sorry to hear this. This is a very sad story. But what is your advice to Charles, because he's in that situation now?
Charles should ask her. And when he's asking, I like what some other people have advised you. When he's asking, you should not ask with violence. Not try to make any serious issue out of it. He has already known. Fine. The lady has done it. He has done it. Fine. So what he needs to do, ask and let it just die down like that. If God help him, he too can build a house and whatever. He can tell the wife. Now that he knows the wife's own, he can tell the wife. Or if he decides not to tell the wife, let him not tell the wife. But the wife has done it. But I know that for that woman to take that step, something was eaten in her mind. And try to find out what that thing was.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you again for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Apparently, this is something that is more popular than we think. And I'm sure that this person, Anonymous, is not the only person who has a similar story. So I'm willing to hear your story and, of course, also give advice to Charles. Thank you again for calling. Thank you again for sharing your story. This is Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7.
Radio never sounded so cool. It's Shoprite's one day sale. Buy Pink Lady 750ml sparkling wine at 1,299 naira. 99 promos save 700 naira. It's for 1 day only. 17th of August 2022. Save more only at Shoprite.
Hello? James, look, I'm on the expressway. My car just broke down. I don't even know what to do.
Sorry, you do not have sufficient credit to continue this call.
Oh, please, no.
Why not?
This is an important call.
Then you should have recharged.
I would, but I'm in a position where I can't.
Why not borrow some credit then?
Borrow credit? How?
With Glow Borrow Me Credit, you can borrow airtime and pay later. It's easy. Just dial star 321 hash and follow the instructions.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Glow is always there for you when it matters most.
Sorry, James. As I was saying, my car just broke down now, and I have no help here.
Talk now, pay later with Glow Borrow Me Credit. Glow Unlimited.
Now, wow, you just can't stop stroking your baby's body. Oh, my dear, can't you see my baby skin? You never had nappy and heat rashes, but ever since I discovered Baby Tributan, my skin has become as smooth as velvet. No more nappy or heat rash. Really? I remember. Tell me more about this Baby Tributan. Baby Tributan is formulated for baby's tender skin to provide effective action against nappy and heat rashes. Use Baby Tributan today and discover the secret of velvety baby skin.
Tributan, a product of Fatesin Healthcare PLC, contains clotrimazole and Isomol. Always read product leaflet.
It's Shoprite's one day sale. Buy Climax 230ml energy drink at 249 naira. 99 promos save 100 naira. It's for 1 day only. 17th of August 2022. Save more only at Shoprite. Here is a list of excuses that will no longer be accepted.
I beg, give me your hotspot. I want my data, but this one too much.
Please, could you put your Wi-Fi on? I'm out of data and the recharge card seller has closed.
Oh, I would have recharged though, but I can't find my wallet.
Please, I've got cramps and I can't get up. Can you share your hotspots?
I don't know where my internet token is, and I need to quickly buy data. Please, could you share your hotspot till I find it?
Hey, Jumbo, I said buy data, but that recharge customer no dey ever get change. How would you?
Now there's really no excuse to ever be out of data with Joe Brody Data. Dial star 321 hash to borrow data now and pay later.
I beg, I said share your hotspot. This way behind. Make fun that no go fireman.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
At ShopRite, you'll find everything you need and more. Buy any 5 Indomie 100-gram fried or chicken pepper soup noodles at 649 naira and 99 kobo, and buy 40 variants of 100 ml Capriston at 2,499 naira and 99 kobo. All prices valid till 21st of August 2022. ShopRite, low prices you can trust always.
Political arena.
The largest religious institutions in Nigeria have failed in enforcing the law in ensuring that members are safe.
Over 180 million people, one country, one capital, 26 states, 469 national assemblies, 774 local government areas. This is Nigeria.
We should stop doing this play game. It's not really fighting corruption. Fighting opponents is fighting the war. All them in the fire.
How well do you know the political terrain of Nigeria? Today, there's no such thing as keep it out of politics. All issues are political games, and we are the players.
Political arena. Wednesdays, 11:30 a.m.
On Women Radio,
WFM 91.7.
political arena, politicking at all levels.
Radio Doctor, your free phone-in health consultation program. Every Thursday brings you medical experts in elderly health.
The elderly, they are peculiar. Their body system is actually changing. They are becoming like a newborn baby in the sense that their immunity wanes and dwindles. So when it's cold, especially in the mornings, in those areas that it's really cold, I'll advise that you use warm water.
Call in to get free consultation on elderly health on 07000 917 917 and 090 256-25455. You can send in questions, cases, and related contributions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WFM917. Text and WhatsApp to 0703-175-6537. You can listen live online on www.wfm917.com. Radio Doctor, Nigeria's first free consultation radio health program on WFM 91.7. I feel that there's some sort of lack of professionalism in this because we're talking about 100 lives. Government has also put in place a structure to make it look like what they have in mind. How do we stop crime in the society? Because at the end of the day, if a man cannot provide for his wife anymore, he looks for all that means. Because we should arrest Nigerian from. Yes, Panorama.
Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5 a.m.
WFM 91.7 will bring you ladies from across Nigeria's political zones, dissecting, discussing, and disagreeing on topical issues of the day. You too can join the conversation by tweeting us at WFM 917 with the hashtag Panorama. WFM 91.7, the voice of women.
20 minutes to 7 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and discuss matters relating to the heart. Today on Adult Conversations, my name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama, and I'm profiling the story of Charles today. So Charles has sent in this story, and for the benefit of those who are just tuning in, I'm going to read the story verbatim. My name is Charles. I'm an accountant and my wife is a nurse. We live in London and have been married for 22 years with 3 children. I pay 80% of the bills in our house, even though the mortgage is under both our names. Recently, my wife bought a house in Ajah, here in Nigeria, without telling me. I am very devastated, and I can't believe she would do something like this. Should I confront her or keep it to myself because I am very, very hurt? So that is what Charles is asking. He says he's really hurt, he's devastated, and is asking should he confront his wife about this. So she bought a house in Ajah when they live in London. They've lived in London and they've been married for 22 years. They have 3 children. So he's asking, I pay 80% of the bills in our house in London. The mortgage is under both our names, but I pay 80% of the bills. So why would you go to Nigeria in Ajah to go and buy a house and not even tell me about it? So again, Charles, if you're listening, what happened specifically? I'm asking this because how did you find out? How did you find out about the house that she bought in Ajah? Number 2 question is, how is the state of your marriage? Are you still happily married? Or at this point, things have fizzled down to more of a casual relationship level because you're still married and you still have children between both of you? Or what exactly is going on? And I'm asking this because one school of thought, according to Anonymous, who called earlier, is basically saying, are you sure there's nothing that you have done to prompt this? Now, according to Charles, additional information from him is talking about his relationship with his wife. So to answer that question, I'm going to quickly read out what Charles said. So Charles sent this saying, let me quickly find that, saying, we were friends before we got married, and in my opinion, remained friends till today. I supported her in my own way in everything. So Charles is wondering, where is this coming from? What are your thoughts tonight? 07000 917 917 is the number to call. 07000 917 917. What is your honest advice to Charles? This is a message coming in from Marianne. Marianne is saying, good evening, SMT. Hope you had a wonderful day. Yes, I did. Thank you. My advice or opinion to Mr. Charles is that he should confront his wife and hear what she has to say. Secondly, do you have evidence that the house actually belongs to her? If the answer happens to be positive, it means there are a lot of things she's keeping away from you. And that's coming from Marianne. Okay, thank you very much, Marianne. Thank you for sending in that one. What are your thoughts tonight? What do you think concerning the story? Are you thinking what Marianne is thinking? Or what are you thinking? What's going through your mind right now? 07000 917 917 is the number to call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Lara calling from Magodo.
Lara from Matogon. Thank you very much, Lara. I hope you had a good day today.
Yeah.
From Magodo.
Fine.
All right.
I'm a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I've come to realize that in this part of the world, you have another part. You have.
Please go ahead. Okay, I don't know what just happened. I'm hoping that maybe that was a network situation. So, Lara, if you can, please call back. If you can, please call back. I would like us to take a lot of calls today just so that Charles can understand the stand of people concerning this tonight, concerning the story tonight. What are people thinking? What is it that you think that is best for him to do? 07000 917 917. Send your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening. Hello? Good evening. Hello, can you hear me? Please, your voice is really low. Call me back when you can speak louder. 07000 917 is the number to call. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. What do you think? Charles is saying he is devastated that after 22 years of marriage, his wife comes to Nigeria, or his wife buys a house in Nigeria, here in Ajah. And you're thinking, to buy a house is really not as easy as it sounds. You need to be on the market, you need to know what's going on. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work that went into this that Charles had no idea of. And that is bound to devastate a person. So what do you think? Have you been treated this way before? I want to hear your heart. Hello, good evening. Hello. 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 Please call back if you can. Please call back if you can. All right. This message is coming in from Chichi from Magwero. Chichi says, good evening, house. I'm in support of Mr. Gbenga. All right. So Mr. Gbenga was the one who said earlier that different situations were on different things. So it's not as easy to just put them on the same pedestal. So, yeah. What are your thoughts tonight? What do you think concerning this? I really want to hear your thoughts. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Lara calling back.
All right, please, Lara, go ahead.
Yeah, I was trying to say that in this part of the world, I'm a single mom also. And I've noticed that in this part of the world, you have most men doing the large bulk of shares of financial responsibilities. And I'm sure along these 22 years, you've had the man doing 80% and the woman enjoying the 20% she's doing. And I'm sure it's because it also stems from the fact that most women don't appreciate the largest shares that their husbands are doing. And along these 22 years, he's been unappreciated and keeping it quiet to himself, one. Two, then you now find out that even with the 80% I'm doing, that means she has the money and she's not letting him know. Then going behind his back to buy a house in another part of the world. It's more like as if I have my money. I don't want you to know I have my money because I'm supposed to be doing 20% and you're doing it. That's how it seems to him.
Okay.
So I'll just say, for me, I'll just say, he should up the ante a bit. Maybe he should reduce his load a bit and let her carry more of the body, so that she feels what is going through. And that way, communication can be key. Because if the woman is not doing anything and the man is doing everything, then when the woman has money, instead of telling him I have money, she would rather invest it in something else, not knowing that investment may even be known later by her husband. So,
all right, let me ask you something, Lara. You've made some very good points, but now that this has happened, he has found out about the house. What is he supposed to do now? Because he feels devastated. He feels like
marriage doesn't scatter. I just believe he should open up to her.
Okay.
I know you've got a house in Nigeria. I know this is the cost of the house. You don't have to be afraid of me knowing you have done this. Try and convince her that she made the right move. Then maybe if you tell her, okay, you've done this, why don't I pitch in this to do this? That way they can then leverage their percentage between themselves and the whole thing can come into pass.
So how about the issue of broken trust, all of that?
Then they will now start working on communication. Then the communication will now make the trust thing balance. I think it's lack of communication among two of them and the understanding that broke the trust in the first. So I think if they work on the two of them coming together as one concerning the house, it will then lean into, okay, I'm sorry I did this, I shouldn't have done this way. Then from there, they can then move on to find how to work on the trust issues.
All right.
At least it's not that she has the husband in Nigeria house.
No, she just no, no. That's not the case. That's not the case.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I do. Thank you so much, Lara. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
All right. Important points there, very important points. And I'm open to more important points because, truth be told, it's only somebody who has been in these shoes before or somebody who understands how pained you can be in these shoes. So Lara is basically saying, if you look at everything put together, she thinks that the major thing here is communication. That's the major thing that she thinks they lack. And she's saying that they need to work on that. And of course, he's saying Charles needs to dial back on the 80% that he's contributing to the bills and give his wife more to do since she, in quotes, apparently has more money. And of course, he should confront her about the house as well. Kindly call back if you can. 07000 917 917 is the phone line. That's the call line. So you can call in to 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text and WhatsApp messages and I'll read it. Send it to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Moses from Crossing.
Moses, you're calling from where, please?
From Crossing, from Abadu Crossing.
Okay. All right, Moses, please go ahead first.
All right. The Richard should approach the wife and ask what the problem may be. Yes. So something like that too has happened to me, but not that serious.
Okay.
Maybe the wife has been thinking the husband may not approve the idea of buying house at Aja in Nigeria. Maybe so, and since she is having the ability, the financial ability, the financial capacity to do that, so she decided to do it behind the husband, which is very, very bad. So the husband needs to approach her and ask her what the problem is. So that may be the case.
That's very good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you for calling. All right. So Moses is saying that, well, maybe she has actually wanted to buy this house in Nigeria, in Aja, for a while. And every time she brings it up, her husband is like, he's not exactly in support of the idea. So knowing that she has the money to do it, she now possibly went behind his back to get it done, understanding that this is not something he wants anyway, but she did it because that's what she wants. So that is the point of view that Moses is coming from. This is a message coming from Gloria from Okeodo in Alimosho. Gloria says, good evening, Sumto. This is a really delicate issue. I don't blame Charles for feeling this way. I really want Charles to discuss with her why she did this. Men has made women to learn every day due to the fact that they, most times, are the cause of the problems. She might have her reasons for doing what she did. And this is coming from Gloria from Okeodo in Alimosho. Gloria is basically saying she might have had issues. She might have had strong reasons for doing this. And the only way to find out what those are would be to talk to her about it. This is actually a very deep subject today. And I'm definitely interested in hearing what your comments are. I'm going to quickly read this one from Ceci Otegbayo from Agopaswe, Okota, Lagos. Ceci says he should confront his wife. She might not mean harm to him. What if she was only trying to surprise him? And if that's not the case, she might be tired of the marriage and trying to move on with her life. 22 years, no be beans. So any way to look at 22 years, no be beans. Even 2 years, self, no be beans. But when you can't add 20 on top of that too, you go realize, say, people where they marriage. You were just the marry, or be you where they do boyfriend, girlfriend. You never start to, you never even start work. You never start because 22 years is a really long time. So Ceci is basically saying, confront her, and maybe it was meant to be a surprise. But if it's not meant to be a surprise, then chances are that she's tired of the marriage and she's just trying to move on for herself. She's trying to move on. Another thing I'd like to know, why buy a house in Nigeria? Is this an indication of the fact that Charles's wife is planning to leave London to come back to be fully based in Nigeria, to relocate back to Nigeria, to fully relocate back to Nigeria. Because now, why would you buy a house in Ajah except you want to put it up for rent? But for people who don't even live in the country in the first place, then it's a bit dicey. It's a bit dicey. But what are your thoughts tonight? What do you think about this story? What do you think? I'm interested. Call me 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. Let me know what your thoughts are tonight. Have you been in these shoes before? Send in your story or call in and, of course, share some parts of your story and advice. More and more advice to Charles, because he needs this. This is more of a need for him. This is not a want. This is somebody who is just desperate, basically. Desperate for good things to happen to him. And it seems like it's always eluding him. He doesn't really know what to do. It's really a weird situation. It's really a weird situation. But here's the thing. 22 years in marriage. That does not mean that they lose trust. That does not mean that they lose everything that made the marriage a strong marriage in the first place. So this goes back to what prompted, because I'm thinking so many things, and I'm wondering what could have prompted Charles's wife to open this house. What could have prompted it? What could have prompted it? I know it's one thing to say, oh, people, Tesla and all of that, and it's another thing to be present in the rural areas. It's another thing to be present in the rural areas, and like it or not, believe it. 22 years, 3 children. You have experienced ups and downs in the course of that marriage. Ups and downs, sometimes more downs than up, depending on how your entire marriage went. That's why I asked that question. Charles, are you in a happy marriage? Because even if you experience difficulty, if you really are a happy couple, if you trust your wife, she trusts you, you can rub minds together, and you know that you're forming that bond for yourself, your wife, and of course your 3 children. So hearing about this is somewhat disturbing. So I understand why Charles says he's devastated. What do you think prompted this? 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. Now, when you can send a text or a WhatsApp message, please go ahead and do that. 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Okay. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the story? I need to see the phones buzzing because I want to hear from you. 22 years in marriage, 3 children. And he says his wife recently bought a house in Ajah and didn't say anything about it. It's disheartening. But there's no smoke without fire, people. There's no smoke without fire. There could be something that might have gone wrong at a certain point in time that they need to stay in a particular headspace. Truth be told, none of this sounds like something that is easy to grasp. Believe me, none of this sounds like something that's easy to grasp. But now that we've known about this, what is the advice to Charles? What is the advice to Charles? What do you think that he should do? How do you think that he should handle knowing what he knows now? Knowing that his wife is a proud owner of a house in Ajah and did not tell him about it. How do you think he should approach this situation? 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. Send a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. What do you think? We're live on Facebook and YouTube at WFM 917. You can catch me on there. And of course, leave a comment if you can. We'll take your comment and we'll be able to give you feedback as well. So, how are we? How are we in this case? How did we find ourselves in this case? And I'm directing this to Charles. How did you find yourself in this situation? If you say you married as friends, you're still friends, and you don't know how you got yourself here, it's not hard to see people say, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I got here. But sometimes you may have contributed to that place where you are. You may have. So I don't want to be the one talking. I really don't. I really, really don't. I want to hear from you. What do you think? He's asking, what do you think? What do I think? Tricky situation. I do have my own opinions. I'm not going to lie. I do have my own opinions on this. But this program is not about me. It's about you. It's about you calling to give advice to people who need it, to people who can very well be disturbed, very well not know what to do, but for some reason you understand. For some reason you understand. So we're at that point where understanding is like, understand, understand what? Charles is devastated. Devastated. What is the advice to him? Should he confront her? Should he not confront her? What do you advise him to do? 07000-917-917. I'm expecting your call. Yes, you. Call me. 07000-917-917. Call me and give advice. Call me and give advice to Charles. Call me. Now, I'm going to go on Facebook and quickly take some of these messages. Emmanuel on Facebook says, confront her, but I hope you are not cheating too. And that is what Emmanuel say. Nicholas Isaac Soporici is saying, well, sorry for this, and it's uncommon with women. You need, and it's common, not uncommon, and it's common with women. You need to wisely confront her and also know if the document of the house is on her family name or if it's just her name. If it's her name, then you have to involve your kids and seek their opinion. And also know that you're going to be on your own and you need to start doing some savings while splitting the bills. And this is coming from Nicholas. I believe Nicholas is some kind of an economic whiz, because he's literally talking about any alone I don't do. I just make sure you save money. Just make sure you save money, because really they feel they come at any point in time. At any point in time. But to prevent that, of course, that is why we do what we do. It's 3 minutes past 7 on Women Radio 91.7. What are your thoughts about the story of Charles today? Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay, please call me back. I want to hear from you. Have you been in these shoes before? Do you know anyone that has? Because sometimes it might not be you. Yes, believe me, sometimes it might not be you. Sometimes somebody around you might be going through a really tough time and they don't know how to approach it. They don't know what to do. So this is that platform. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you have doubts about? What do you need people to give you advice on? Send in your name and contact number along with your story to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. All right, going on Facebook now. This one is coming in from Austin Patrick. It's a pretty long message, so I'm just going to go straight into it. Austin is saying, what was the agreement before marriage? If she's one of those women who believe in my money is mine, your money is ours, then I sympathize with you. I would tell you to prioritize yourselves and the kids, so at least she could get property without giving you a heads up. Then I'm sorry. Also, I will advise you, hold on to see if she tells you. It could be a surprise she's waiting to unveil. If she doesn't tell you, check on that whose name the property is registered. And the basic point is him saying, communicate to her and tell her what you don't like. If you're paying 80% of the bills, and I presume you're also paying the mortgage, which is under both names, then I don't know where her money is going to. I would suggest you confront her, and if if she doesn't tell you about the property. That's coming from Austin Patrick. All right. I want to take more calls. 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. What is your advice for Charles tonight? What is the advice? And do you think he would find somebody good for him at the end of the day? What are your thoughts? I want to hear it. I really do want to hear it. 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. All right. So this one is coming in from Nicholas. Okay, I think I already read this. Nicholas is basically saying you need to wisely confront her about and know if the document on the house is for the family name or if it's just her name. If it's on her name, then you have to involve your kids and seek their opinion. Also know that you're on your own and you need to start doing personal savings while splitting the bills. For Falake Akinkoli says, I want to know if she has ever suggested that initially and maybe you've turned her down every time she brings it up. No, that is not the case. So Austin again is saying, what was the agreement before marriage? If she's one of those people who did that, basically. If she's one of those people that believe in my money is mine, your money is ours. According to Austin, he says, I feel for you. I feel for you. So he's saying, I would advise you hold on to see if she tells you. Now, you know you found out already. Now, this one by Austin is saying, hold on for a second. Let her know if she can trust you or not. Let her know if she can trust you or not. So, whatever the case may be, it might be a little bit confusing, but I'm reading this message from Austin. All right, so Austin says, I will advise you hold on to see if she tells you. It could be a surprise she's waiting to unveil. If she doesn't tell you, please comfort her. Also, check under whose name the property is registered. Are you talking about the home in London or the home that she bought in Ikoyi? Okay. All in all, these are issues that should be discussed before marriage. So I really don't know how far this will go, but this is definitely a very interesting point of view. Very interested in point of view. All right, Emmanuel is saying confront her. Hope you're not cheating on her too. Falake Akinkuli, he says, I want to ask if she has ever suggested that initially, and maybe you've turned her down every time she brings it up. Still taking messages on Facebook, still taking messages on Twitter, still taking messages on just basically still taking messages. I want to hear what your thoughts are. If you probably feel a certain way about calling, if you feel a certain way about maybe calling, then of course, let's hear it. Let's hear it if you feel a certain way about something. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of people are just in difficult places, particularly in line with the story we're talking about today. So, this particular different circumstance is one that is very, very, I'm trying to find the right word. Anyway, I'm coming from the perspective of the wife. Now, this wife that built this house in Ajah. No woman who has nothing to fear, nothing to hide, no woman in their right mind would do something like this and typically not tell their husbands. Typically they would tell him. But in this case, she bought the house and didn't mention it to him at all. So it would not be hard to say that, oh, maybe there's a problem here. But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you agree that this is unwarranted or do you think that Charles being devastated because his wife built a house in Ajah, Nigeria, when they live in London is a problem? Do you think is a problem? Do you think this is something they can amicably resolve? Because honestly, this is just, it's not the best scenario. Believe me, it's not the best scenario. But if this has happened to you before, if you've been through this, if you've been with somebody who was also a certain kind of person, and you've been to, other people in different other areas, and you have experienced such things, please call in and let's hear from you. If you experience anything close to what it is that Charles in his story is experiencing, he said he's devastated and he can't believe that she would do this to him. So I want to hear what your thoughts are tonight. 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. That's where to call. And for the text or WhatsApp line, 0703 175 6537. This is Still Adult Conversations. 12 minutes past 7 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is Still Adult Conversations. My name is Sunto Titilayo Ajama, and if you're just tuning in, you are welcome. Thank you again for joining us. And tonight we're profiling the story of Charles. If you have been tuned in before, you would know already what this story is about. But if not, I'm giving you the lowdown of the story. Charles is an accountant. His wife is a nurse. They live in London and have been married for 22 years with 3 children. Now, Charles pays 80% of the bills in the house, even though the mortgage of the house is under both husband and wife's names. Recently, Charles found out that his wife bought a house in Ajah without telling him. He says, "I am very devastated and I can't believe she would do something like this. Should I confront her or keep it because I'm hurt? Should I confront her or keep it?" Going still on Facebook, this is Dogara Doges Agida, and this message says, "I think there's something wrong for a very long time in which you look at it as if it will not be a problem someday. But as a man, just take your time to know the real motive behind the act before you do something to regret after, because there can be no smoke without fire. There can be no smoke without fire." Now, this is a very interesting point of view. I think this was raised previously by another caller, that there's really no way, let me put it that way, there's really no way that something of this magnitude will happen and nothing will cause it. That is why I asked earlier, Charles, are you in a happy marriage with your wife? Are you in a happy marriage? Because if your marriage has regressed to the point where you and your spouse are just basically living in the same house, you're literally roommates that have children together. If that's the case, then chances are that she probably thought, oh, we don't really talk much. Anything outside the children, we don't really talk much. So I'm not sure he deserved to know about this. That is one point of view. Another school of thought would be maybe the marriage was already going through some rough patches. And then she realized, you know what, this is my project, this is what I'm doing, and maybe decided not to tell him about it as well. Another school of thought is maybe she has told him about it before, the fact that she wants to buy a house in Nigeria. And he's like, and he refused, or he denied her that. So maybe that's why she went to do it behind his back. But Charles is obviously devastated. And I want us to give some advice to Charles tonight. So what do you think can be done? What do you think? Do you think he should confront her, or do you think he should keep it to himself? Do you think he should confront her, or do you think he should keep it to himself? That's the question. 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. Additional information coming in is also that now this wife in question, this wife who has a house in Ajah, her mom was actually the woman who her father didn't marry. So you know how you have somebody outside the marriage that you're in a relationship with. So this wife, Charles's wife, this was her mom. And when her dad died, her mom was left dry. Her mom was left broke. Her mom didn't have anything. So maybe this is what made her believe that it's okay to do something like this. So sometimes when people have gone through certain things, they learn certain lessons along the way. But is this reason enough for her not to have told her husband of 22 years about the fact that she's buying a house in Nigeria, in Ajah specifically, pardon me? What is your thought process concerning this? What is the advice for Charles? 07000 917 917. I know you have thoughts and I want to hear them. 07000 917 917. I'll take that again. 07000 917 917. Send in your text and WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. What do you think that Charles should do? What do you think that he should do? If you've been in these shoes before and you're in a long relationship with someone only for them to do something that you thought that you know they could have carried you along with, but they didn't. How did you feel when you found out? What happened next? Are you still a couple? Because it's important that at least there should be a reason for this. There should be a reason for this. There should be something that would have prompted this action, which Charles should know. It's very disheartening, this kind of thing. And to a large extent, a lot of women would have different perspectives on this. But I want to hear your perspective. We've gotten some perspectives on this so far, but I want to hear what you think about it. What do you think Charles should do? 07000 917 917. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. Please, what's your name or where are you calling from?
My name is Victor Idumi and I'm calling you from Ikorodu.
Victor, thank you very much for calling. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've been enjoying your program. I will say that first.
Thank you so much.
And then this issue on ground shows the background of where the woman is coming from. I haven't gotten the last message that came.
Mm-hmm.
You see, background of any marriage depends on the family where the woman or the man is also coming from. They tend to mimic what has happened in their parents' marriage and carry it over. Maybe out of ignorance, not supposed to be like that. But again, if I were Charles, I will only confront her.
Okay.
And then forget about it and move on. That will not separate us. That I will have at the back of my mind that I'm not having secured a relationship. That's all.
Because of the trust, because you think trust has been broken, or why do you say? Okay.
Trust has been broken. The relationship is just there's already a crack in the wall, and there is no how anybody can feel good about it. She has, made the marriage, she has created a top kind of secrecy in the marriage, which, one cannot take. But all the same, to avoid, if there's already children in the marriage, to avoid what would have happened in her own family. Just keep the family together, keep going on the children grow. They do understand what has happened.
Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, sir.
Honestly, it's hard to act out this kind of thing. It's hard to act it out because, truth be told, it's not very easy to be from a background where something traumatic happened and you took a lesson from that and you have it somewhere at the back of your mind where you're acting on that lesson, even though the situation is not the same with what happened that caused you that trauma. I'm coming back to that. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name, please?
My name is Falari from Surulere.
Your name again, please.
My name is Falari from Surulere.
Hello, Falari. Thank you for calling. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Okay, I think Falari you should ask his wife. Either way, whatever he does, that was what he would have for his next step of action. And also, I strongly believe there's a reason why your wife was 15 years like the fact that she's buying the house like that from you. Has he done something like that to her also in the past? Do they keep secrets from each other? There should be a reason. Now, there's no place
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Florian. Thank you for calling.
Man actually did that. Totally wrong. But should ask that.
All right.
That is not to just let go and say, oh, should you ask or should you ask yourself? For all we know, some people get misunderstanding. Traveling to go to the house or someone just started with buying the house. That's hard to clarify things.
Okay. Understood. Understood. Thank you, Falari. Thank you for calling. All right. Now, this also is another point that was raised earlier about confirming whether the house is really for her. Falari just said, oh, somebody could have bought the house in her name. Let's see, the likelihood of that is very slim, but let's not say it can't happen because it could happen. But the likelihood of that, once again, is very slim. No, I mean, I don't think anybody just wakes up and they put somebody else's name when they want to buy a house. That's a major project. That's a major asset. So naming it under somebody else is very, very slim likelihood of that. But Falari is also saying, talk to your wife about this. And she's also saying there is no smoke without fire. Now, this is not to point fingers and say, oh, she's wrong, you're wrong, both of you are wrong, there's something that must have happened. What is it that you did that offended her? Nobody's pointing fingers. But we just need to get to the bottom of this. And one way to do that, according to Falari, would be to ask her about the nature of your relationship. Have you been keeping secrets from each other? Is this a relationship where she felt the need to do this? Probably because of something that you had done before. So, I don't know what that is, but Falari, thank you very much for your comment. 07000 917 917 is the number to call. You can still call in. It is still the time for adult conversations. We're still talking about Charles' story. We're still profiling the story, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. 07000 917 917 is the number to call. You can send your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Sorry, this is Falari. I just want to just check your point that people actually buy properties in another person's name.
Is there a particular reason for that, or isn't there usually a specific reason for that?
Internet source that Yahoo guys actually buy properties in names of other people. Mostly, majorly, they are close relatives.
Okay.
No, don't say they don't, so they do.
Oh, no.
They really back down. So
All right.
in cases of EFCC, the only asset they can get is the asset bought in their name. So they are not smart that EFCC, or they now use other people's name to buy the properties. E.g., they use their mother's name, their sister's name, their brother's name. It could not even be there. It could just be, a trusted neighbor, something. You know, those type of, area sister, area brother.
Okay. Thank you very much for that information, Falari. Thank you so much. All right. And that's why I said the likelihood of that is very slim. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but the likelihood is slim. So she just explained that particular point of view. What do you think about this story tonight? If you're just tuning in, this is Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Grandma, you need to see the smile on my face right now.
I can feel it.
Thank you, Grandma. Thank you for calling. They're all fine. They're all fine. Thank you so much. They're all fine.
Well done. How is Lady T?
Lady T is good. Lady T is good. Thank you.
Okay. That's nice. Because what I will say is that you should confront the wife. You know, with our culture here, it is like men can do and undo. They can surprise you. Maybe she doesn't want the man to shock her. That's why she first of all shock herself. And bought that house to prepare for an eventuality, like my father will say, an eventuality. So she prepared herself. And by the way, I want to know whose name is on that property. Is it the children? Is it the woman? But you know, it means there has never been any trust between them. For the woman to do that after 22 years, and the man is taking the whole responsibility, 80% in that place, in that part of the world, and the woman with 3 children, both of them, and the woman doesn't have conscience. Like I said, she's preparing for an eventuality. And maybe the family of the man doesn't like the woman. In case of any eventuality, she has prepared herself so that she won't be empty. That's it. So.
Grandma, don't mind me. I'm thinking very carefully about what you've said.
This is eventuality.
Exactly. It's that word. It's that particular word. And the thing that strikes me about that word now is the fact that for you to be preparing for an eventuality, there must have been something that would have triggered the thoughts of that eventuality coming to place in the first place.
Yes, that's why I said maybe the man's family, they are, what word will I use for them now? They are not friendly, or they don't like her, or it is this family that it's my brother, it's my brother, it's my brother, it's my son, no, everything, you know. They're not allowing the man to rest. So if there's anything on ground, in case of that eventuality, they will just grab everything and leave the woman. But she's lucky she's living in a country where they cannot cheat a woman, like in our own world here. So that, you know, the man will feel bad, yes, will feel bad. I knew a family where the husband committed suicide because of this type of thing.
That's so sad.
The woman didn't trust him. And he was spending all the money on the family and nothing. And then, so it means that if anything happens, the woman will just move to other property she has bought. So the man should confront her and then see the outcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Grandma Olayinka.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your night.
I will. Thank you.
Eventuality. I don't think I'm going to say much because that word actually summarizes a lot. And according to Grandma, she's saying maybe something prompted her to do this, something prompted her to take this particular action to prepare herself against any possible eventuality. It's that something now that could be the problem, that could be the real problem. So it might not just be the fact that she bought the house. The fact that she bought the house could just be a possible side effect of something that has been going on. Now, I did say earlier that Charles said he and his wife have been friends since day one. It's been 22 years and they're still friends to this day. So this definitely took him aback, wondering, how can we call ourselves friends? I mean, even minus the marriage. We are married, we have 3 children, but we're still friends. So if you can't tell me as your husband, you should be able to tell me as your friend that you're planning to buy a house in so and so place at so and so price for this particular period of time, or to be cared for by this particular set of people until you get back to Nigeria, or whatever the plans are. But now this is something that he literally just sprung on, or literally was sprung on him, so to speak. You will understand that it's not as easy as it sounds to just say, oh, we don't know how it happened. This is devastating, to be honest. But at the same time, what could have prompted it? So that question still lies. It's just hanging somewhere in the balance. That question is just hanging somewhere there. Waiting for cost this kind of thing. Where happen? Do my carry her money? No tell husband where she marry, where she pledge for, where she and the husband vow to they tell each other everything, to share love between themselves. I remember I said they don't marry for 22 years, get 3 picking. You get a plan, say you won't buy house for Nigeria outside the country where both of them they live. Yes, your home country, understood, but now you can't tell the guy anything. Now the guy can't find out. Of course, in the feel one kind of. But waiting go prompt this kind of behavior from the woman. I'm going to take this message. This one is coming from Dickin Ben. Dickin Ben says, hello, house. I see distrust and sense of insecurity on the part of the woman. If the mortgage in the UK is being serviced by both of you, it means you both are partners and co-owners of the property. So why the trust issues here? My bro, I think you need to verify your source of information and get hold of some documented evidence to nail her. There is need to confront her with your proof and begin to plan for option B as well. Your wife seems not to be comfortable spending her entire life with you. Again, let her parents understand what's going on between the both of you. All right, so everything else has been relatively said before. 2 points are new here, which is number 1, grab hold of some evidence just to be sure that your wife is actually the owner of that house. Folari has said it, that some people could rent houses or buy houses in other people's names, and this could be the case here. But to be sure, even if your documents, the documentation you find still puts her name on it, at least when you confront her, she'll be able to say, oh, I didn't actually buy the house, but somebody bought the house in my name, or this person contacted me for, the explanation will be there. But at least you have the evidence to say, you can't deny it. I can see that you bought a house. Why did you buy a house without telling me about it? So there is that. And Dickin Ben is also adding that talk to your wife. So when you confront her, let her parents understand what's going on. That's bringing the parents of the wife into the situation. Now, for me, sometimes it's really, really hard to think about bringing third party, particularly for a marriage that has lasted this long. But to a large extent, sometimes you can't do without it. Sometimes you just can't do without bringing somebody else in. But that's what Dickin Ben thinks. What do you think? Hello, good evening. Hello. All right, call me back. Deacon Ben, thank you for sending in that message. It's been a while, and I hope you're fine. I hope you're fine, and I appreciate the message once again. So if you can, take a moment and give us a call so that we can hear from you as well, minus the message. The number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. This is Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7.
Keep it loud. Turn your radios up. We go live.
My better people better don't land. Ice Medicare HMO now one of that Ogbonge health maintenance organization where our government stamp gidigba for health insurance matter. My country people, why you go sick before you cover yourself? What if money no dey when you fall sick? Ice Medicare HMO get better health plan and benefit for organized private sector, schools, communities, and even private individuals and families. Ice premium for all their plans dey pocket friendly. Na shikini money. Ice hospital network na all over Naija. They fit help you arrange treatment for Obodo Oyibo. Their head office na number 2 Osho Street, Okpebi Link Bridge, off Okpebi Road, Ikeja, Lagos. For more information, call 080-93-555-863 or 080-3263-9058. Ice Medicare, health protection in your colors.
Hello? James, look, I'm on the expressway. My car just broke down. I don't even know what to do.
Sorry, you do not have sufficient credit to continue this call.
Oh, please, no.
Why not?
This is an important call.
Then you should have recharged.
I would, but I'm in a position where I can't.
Why not borrow some credit then?
Borrow credit? How?
With borrowing credit, you can borrow airtime and pay later. It's easy. Just dial *321# and follow the instructions.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Flow is always there for you when it matters most.
Sorry, James. As I was saying, my car just broke down now, and I have no help here.
Talk now, pay later with Global Me Credit. Unlimited. It's game night at the Bensons and everyone's having fun. Then this.
Hey, son, what's the matter?
You too? No way. Don't let coughs and the common cold ruin your fun time. Texi range of reformulated AMI syrups provides effective relief from cough and cold. Product may cause drowsiness. Tuxil, the job gets done when the cough is gone. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor.
lọ́dọ̀ kọ́ ó jẹ́ ìyá rẹ̀ ó jẹ́ arábìnrin rẹ̀ ó tún wá jẹ́ ìyàwó àtọmọbìnrin rẹ̀ ní gbogbo ìdí ní ìgbésí ayé rẹ̀ ló ń ṣe ojúṣe àti ìtọ́jú rẹ̀ báwo ni a ṣe fẹ́ sọ orí yípadà tó jẹ́ ó yẹ ká máa lò ní ìlòkulò bí omi òjò tàbí kí àwọn ọ̀daràn máa ṣe ní ìṣekúṣe tàbí fi ipá bá ní àjọṣepọ̀ tàbí kí wọ́n tó sọ jẹ́rú tí wọ́n ń káàkiri sí òrùkó yẹ kó fi agbára mú un sí ìgbéyàwó lẹ́yìn bàlágà tàbí láti lóyún àìròtẹ́lẹ̀ tí ó yẹ kí ìṣe àti àṣà wá sí ìdúró fún un láti lọ sí ilé ìwé fún ẹ̀kọ́ tó yẹ kóró yóò lè mú ìdàgbàsókè bá ẹgbẹ́ àti àdúgbò rẹ̀ bí ǹjẹ́ ó yẹ kó máa dojú pẹ̀lú àbálòpọ̀ ọ̀gájú ọ̀bá lọ tàbí ṣíṣe bí ọṣẹ ti ń sojú tàbí fáwọn láti so àwọn obìnrin àti obìnrin yìí nílò ìfẹ́ àtìlẹ́yìn àti ètò ààbò tó péye nítorí ẹ̀yìn àwọn àgbájọ obìnrin àgbájọ lágbàáyé International Federation of Women Lawyers fúnra ṣe pálùkọ̀ yìí ká jáwọ́ kúrò nípa ìwú ìwà iṣẹ́ ibi sí àwọn ọmọbìnrin dáṣọpin sí ìwà olè tí ó bá tó fìrì ibi tí wọ́n ti ń wá àìtọ́ sí àwọn ọmọbìnrin ìjọ àjọ fúnra tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ kìí ṣe nípa pípẹ́ ẹ̀rọ bá ń sọ wọ̀nyí 08034737124 07063674668 èyí kájọ fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ láti dáàbò bo àwọn ènìyàn wa mo fẹ́ràn ìyá mi mo fẹ́ràn ọmọbìnrin mi máa dáàbò bo ìdílé ìwọ́ láti ọ̀dọ̀ àjọ fúnra lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn Ford Foundation.
Hello, James. Look, I'm on the expressway. My car just broke down. I don't even know what to do.
Sorry, you do not have sufficient credit to continue this call.
Oh, please, no.
Why not?
This is an important call.
Then you should have recharged.
I would, but I'm in a position where I can't.
Why not borrow some credit then?
Borrow credit? How?
With borrowing credit, you can borrow airtime and pay later. It's easy. Just dial *321# and follow the instructions.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Flow is always there for you when it matters most.
Sorry, James. As I was saying, my car just broke down now, and I have no help here.
Talk now, pay later with Global Me Credit.
Unlimited.
It's ShopRite's one-day sale. Buy Pink Lady 750 ml sparkling wine at 1,299 naira. 99 kobo save 700 naira. It's for one day only. 17th of August 2022. Save more only at ShopRite.
Are you searching for durable, guaranteed, elegant, affordable home products? At Eleganza Industrial City Limited, we put you first. From plastic chairs for adults and babies, party tables and school tables, disposable plates and cups, as well as reusable plastics, food warmers and cooling boxes, trash bins of various sizes, baby diapers, lady sanitary care products, luggage of various sizes, hair threads, and lots more. Eleganza Industrial City Limited has got you covered with our elegantly designed products in unique shapes and sizes. Visit us at kilometer 68 Lekki Epe Expressway after Eleko Junction, Ibeju Lekki, Lagos. Or you can call 081 801 99999 or 090 914 73665. Or you can send us an email at eleganzaindustrialcity@yahoo.com or info@eleganzagroups.com or sales@eleganzagroups.com. You can visit our website www.eleganzagroups.com. Eleganza Industrial City Limited. The name is our guarantee.
Our friend Oliver is what you call a man with a huge appetite. Gigantic, actually. And if there's one phrase we have come to know Oliver for, it is this. More data, please. No matter what we offer him. More data, please. Also, guess what we did? We heard Glo create new data plans for people like Oliver, and we got him exactly that. And guess what Oliver said? Excuse me, please, is this all for me? Only me? Now, Oliver certainly has more than enough data. All thanks to the Glo Mega Data Plans. With the longer validity you get on Glo Mega Data Plans, you can work from home with ease, run your business better, download non-stop, stream music and movies endlessly, learn online, and share data with anyone. No worries. Get 225 gigabytes at 30,000 naira for 30 days, 425 gigabytes at 50,000 naira for 90 days, and 1 terabyte at 100,000 naira for a year. Dial star 777 hash now to start enjoying these mega plans. Glo Unlimited.
Radio Doctor, your free phone-in health consultation program. Every Thursday brings you medical experts in elderly health.
The elderly, they are peculiar. Their body system is actually changing. They are becoming like a newborn baby in the sense that their immunity wanes and dwindles. So when it's cold, especially in the mornings, in those areas that it's really cold, I'll advise that they use warm water.
Call in to get free consultation on elderly health on 07000 917 917 and 090 256-25455. You can send in questions, cases, and related contributions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WFM917. Text and WhatsApp to 0703-175-6537. You can listen live online on www.wfm917.com. Radio Doctor, Nigeria's first free consultation radio health program on WFM 91.7. Whatever you call it, be it cool, gist, or gossip, best believe we've got you covered 100%.
Join me NY and Snow every Friday at 7:15 p.m. for the best of entertainment gist only on Block Fame.
What are the consequences of corruption on the woman? Silence. Silence through diverse forms. Education, healthcare, laws and policies fostering unfavorable conditions to the woman at all levels. The Woman Agenda, breaking that silence, demanding accountability, transparency and good governance. The Woman Agenda is deliberate and calculated in amplifying the voice of women. The Woman Agenda, Fridays 3 p.m. on Women Radio 91.7, a platform on the way forward.
(15 minutes to 8) on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Adult Conversations. Thank you very much for tuning in so far, and if you're just tuning in, my name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. We will be rounding off in a bit, but I still want to hear your comments on the story. I want to hear your comments on the story, and I want to hear your advice for Charles. So Charles is saying that he's an accountant, his wife is a nurse. They both live in London and are in a 22-year-old marriage. They've been married for 22 years. They have 3 children. Now, recently, Charles found out that his wife of 22 years recently bought a house in Ajah here in Nigeria without telling him. He's devastated after finding out, and he's asking himself, should I confront her about it, or should I just not talk about it? What is the advice for Charles tonight? 07000 917 917 is the number to call. 07000 917 917. You can also send in your text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is John from Ikorodu.
Hello, John. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead. What's your advice? Very quickly now, please.
My advice would be for Charles to confront her. For her to have done such a thing, she must have been listening to maybe people from her side, maybe her parents or her relatives, knowing fully well that they are not in a country where that could happen and she will go scot-free. So you should confront her. Then from there, you will know what to do next. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So it says, John is saying Charles should confront his wife, and then after confronting her and hearing what she has to say, he'll know what to do next. But something about what he said maybe because they're living in a country where she can do that and go scot-free. If they're living in Nigeria, would there be any consequences? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is Miracle. I'm Miracle by name.
Hello, Miracle. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Akuti.
Okay, thank you very much. Please go ahead, Miracle. We're rounding off very soon.
All right. My advice for the man is that he should not confront her. Neither should he ask her about it. I would just advise the man that the man should just use his scope and tell the wife that, okay, my darling wife, there's something I really want to talk about with you. Okay, there's one of my friends that actually bought a house somewhere, but he did not tell the wife, and later the wife found out. So what do you think the wife should do? Are you suggesting that the wife should confront the man, or the wife should just let the man be? Or if you are the one as my wife and I bought a house, I didn't let you know, what will you do?
Okay.
That's my advice for Mr. Charles.
All right. Thank you very much. That's actually a new one. That's a new one from today. We haven't had that at all in the course of today. Thank you very much, Miracle. So Miracle is saying, don't confront her directly, don't confront her directly. Just cook a story up, put it together, and then let her know that, oh, this is happening to somebody I know. And, what do you think the person should do? How do you think the person should approach this situation? What do you think they can do? And then from her comment to the story, of course, the made-up story that's about her, but she doesn't know, then you'll be able to understand what to do next. Will this work? I don't know. And it's just a really sad situation. And I'm saying this, I keep saying it's really sad because trust is something that is so crucial in a marriage. It is so, so crucial beyond words in a marriage. Sometimes when all the love has fizzled away, when all the passion has fizzled away, when the children have gone to university, they've left the house, all that is left is friendship and trust. And you can't have a good friendship without trust. So at the end of the day, it's like Charles is so devastated because trust was broken here. I mean, it's kind of thought to say, even if they had challenges, even if they had conflicts, even if they had difficulty, even if they were going through a situation where they weren't talking to themselves or anything, maybe they're just living like roommates, as I've said before. Is that reason enough not to tell him about it? Hello, good evening. Hello? Good evening, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening, what's your name, please?
Lady B speaking.
Hello, Lady B, thank you for calling. All right, Lady B. Exactly. So let's hear you. Let's hear you quickly.
I want to say this by asking Charles this question. Is Charles sure he's treating her well? Is their relationship in a way that he could have the boldness to confront her? She should please check off their trust issue and their communication. 22 years is a huge, but is it that well? It's not how far, but how well has their relationship in these 22 years. If anybody, are they living in pretense? Something is not normal. Something is just not too normal there. Charles should not confront yet. He should work on their relationship and draw her closer. To work on it very well. Something is just not normal because women, for them to take that decision, there is something. She might have seen something that she's trying to protect herself from. So I think Charles should sit himself down and ask himself some questions. For these 22 years, how has he been treating this woman? How is their relationship like? And the woman got this kind of idea. There must be something that would trigger this for her to do this, even if the family are telling her to do something like that. If the woman notices that I can't trust you with my future, you are doing something that I am not too comfortable with, the woman can take this decision. These are the things women can do. So Charles should first of all caution himself. Watch himself very well. Have you offended this woman in one way or the other that made her to take this decision without telling you? No woman will hide this thing for 22 years with a very good relationship between the man, trust, effective communication between the two of them will take this kind of decision. There must be something that Charles should take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lady B. Thank you for calling. And that's our final call today on Adult Conversations. Lady B is also saying, she's also concurring with what Grandma said earlier about that eventuality. Do you remember that? Yes, that eventuality, that chance that there could be something going on that she's trying to protect herself from. And in a bid to protect herself, she took this kind of drastic decision. It could be anything, really. It could be anything. But this is definitely something that should be discussed. Lady B is just adding that you might not need to discuss it now. Yes, you'll need to discuss it, but now might not be the right time. Particularly if you haven't been the model husband to her. Particularly if there are any loopholes in your relationship. Particularly if there's anything that needs to be worked on. So she's saying, draw her closer to you first. Rebuild that trust, that communication. Rebuild everything. And after a while, then you can talk about this. That's if she's not the one that will open up to you about it. So that is the final comment that we're getting on this story tonight. This has been a very interesting conversation today. And I know it was very delicate, so I appreciate our responses and I appreciate the sensitivity to the story tonight. Thank you again. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for sending your text and WhatsApp messages. Thank you for basically expressing yourself on this story tonight. Thank you again. I believe that Charles will be able to take an informed decision from all the advice that has been given tonight. On behalf of Charles, I say thank you again. And I would just want to say that next week is another time, or tomorrow is Thursday, so tomorrow is another time on Adult Conversations. Join me again, 6 to 8 p.m. Of course, Women Radio 91.7 is the place, and Adult Conversations is the program. Thank you very much to the engineers on duty, Timile Ajuma. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Good evening.
It's me and you, show me.